Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Lockdown Podcast with me. Now, in the news overnight, we were faced with some rather shocking news. News that our Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, has been taken into intensive care. Now, I did mention in yesterday's podcast that he was taken into hospital over the weekend for precautionary measures. That has evolved where his condition has got worse and he has now been taken to intensive care where doctors can keep a close eye on him and monitor his situation and give him the best care possible. This, of course, is something as a nation we do not need. We don't need our Prime Minister to be poorly, to be ill, because we need him fighting fit so he can front and he can do what he does. He needs to lead the country. One thing from this, which has really angered me in a way, is the amount of negative comments that are being banished around social media. There is no need to put political views first. This is a human being just like anybody else. When people are wishing him ill health because of political views, he's bang out of order. This man is a human. He's got children. He's got a partner. He's got another child on the way. Irrespective to political views, he does not deserve any bad wishes. So I'm going to take this time to wish Boris all the best and a very speedy recovery, because I know you can do it and you can get back and you can do what you are doing so well and leading us forward and battling this dreadful, god-awful disease that is COVID-19. Now, on my podcast today is a very dear friend of mine, someone who I have got a lot of time for and a lot of respect for. He has done wonders in his community for raising money for charity, for supporting good causes. He even rescued a stray dog and raised some funds to get her back to health and adopted her. He works tirelessly, touring up and down the country, performing his Elton John tribute show. But today I've got him on the podcast to discuss other things that have been going on in his life. Now, Andy has had a couple of years of bad luck, but he's battled forward, he's carried on, he's not let it get on top of him, he's kept moving forward and doing what he does best. But recently, he was faced with some awful news. News that should have been a very happy moment in his life. He was due to be married to his partner at the end of this month, end of April. And because of the coronavirus, the wedding venue has cancelled the wedding. But not only that, they've cancelled his wedding with no intention of giving a refund. So we're going to speak to Andy and just get his views and his side on things and hear it from him, just how he's been affected by not only a loss of income, but also the fact that he's lost all the money invested and paid for his wedding, all because of the coronavirus outbreak. So hello Andy, thank you very much for joining me today on my podcast. I do appreciate it very much. Now Andy, you've had a rough couple of years, haven't you?
I have, yeah. I had cancer and I had 2 years of cancer treatment and everything. So yeah, it's not been the best few years.
No, but with all the doom and gloom, you were looking forward to something this month, something very important.
Yeah, I was due to get married on the 10th of April to my amazing other half, Emma.
And then, unfortunately, because of this silly, god-awful situation that we're currently in as a nation, your wedding venue, they cancelled your wedding with no intention of giving you a refund.
Yeah, they basically contacted us via email before the lockdown and said, would we like to move the date of our wedding? And we said, well, when can we move it to? You booked up solid for 2 years. And they basically said, well, that's an option that we're giving you at the moment. They said, but, we're happy to keep the wedding on for you on the 10th of April. And if we go down into lockdown, then obviously it will be cancelled. So, of course, the 24th came and went into lockdown and our wedding was cancelled.
And they're giving you no help at all in order of helping you financially? Because, I mean, for you personally, business was great. You were travelling the country doing what you do best. You was bringing in the money, so to speak. But then this has happened, and not only have you've lost your earnings for the coming weeks and months, but also you've paid all this money out for your wedding, and it's literally you've just put it in the bin, so to speak, because they're not letting you have it back.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we contacted them, and our MP actually wrote to them because we contacted our MP because we were so disgusted that they wouldn't refund us. So basically, our MP wrote to them, and all that we've had back from them was an email saying that the solicitors are looking into the matter. And that's it. And it's just going on and on and on. And all that they do is keep sending us possible dates through. And the dates that they're sending us are dates that nobody'd want, like, the 3rd of January or, a Thursday during the year. And we didn't book that date. If we'd have wanted one of those dates, we'd have booked them initially. We wanted either a nice bank holiday weekend, which we booked for this weekend, or a nice summer date. And that's why we paid out the money that we did. But obviously, they're just basically turning around to us and saying, no, we can't have it back. And if we cancel, they want to charge us £3,000 for the rooms that would have been used at the wedding this weekend, even though the venue's shut.
That's not on, is it? It's not on at all. I mean, they're not even trying in the slightest to help you. If anything, they're making it more difficult for you to actually do anything, because it's either you lose what you've paid for, or you cancel yourselves and then you've got to pay even more on top of what you've already paid. I mean, let's be honest, like, they contacted you a couple of weeks ago when the lockdown, was kind of coming about and things. It's not as if they've had to already pay staff in advance for it or even bring in supplies for it. So what is the actual reason for them holding your money? They don't really have a reason, really.
Well, they're basically saying that once the money's paid, it's no longer our money, it's their money. And for us to get a refund, they've got loopholes in their contracts which says that we aren't entitled to it. And obviously, wedding insurance isn't paying up on Corona because it was an unknown virus, so the wedding insurances aren't paying up. But there was actually a programme on yesterday called The Steph Show on Channel 4, and there was a gentleman on there that's a high legal financial guy that basically said that the venues have to refund you, and in turn all the other parts of your wedding that have been purchased have to refund. But no one's actually put anything in black and white, so no government thing has gone, look, you have to do this, guys, like they did with the airlines and the flights. Like our honeymoon was cancelled. We had a honeymoon booked, and the airlines have contacted to say we will eventually get a refund. But the government haven't put anything in place, and this is a £50 million a year industry. Is the wedding industry, and for me personally, with the cancer thing, I had tests going back about 5 weeks ago, and my cancer markers came raised, so my PSA had gone up over a gradual period of time. So basically, I had an email from them saying, look, I'm going to have to go in and I'm going to have MRI scans and everything and see where we're up to. So at this point, for us, for a wedding in 2 years isn't any good, because at the end of the day, we don't know what's going to happen. We didn't know what was going to happen with Corona, but I certainly don't know what's going to happen in my life. And we even turned around to them and said, look, if we book a wedding 2 years down the line and I passed away in the meantime, what would happen with the money for Emma? And they told us we'd lose the money.
They're not even showing any signs of sympathy or empathy. They're showing no emotion at all, other than, we've got your money, we're having it now, we don't care what happens in the future, we've got it, you're not having it back regardless, which I think is bang out of order. I mean, they could at least offer a part refund or something to get the ball rolling, but there's nothing at all. All they've offered you is a date in the future, and other dates which you don't particularly want or nobody wants. That's why they've got them left. I mean, who wants to get married in January just after Christmas?
That's it. Even the one that they offered us in October, the registrars aren't even booking weddings till mid-October. Right. So, they've offered us a date that we can't have a registrar for.
So how would that work then? Like, if they're offering you a wedding in October and you've got no registrar, you're not technically getting married, are you?
No. Well, what they said to us originally, when this all started back in March, they turned around to us and said, your wedding can still go ahead on the 10th of April. And we emailed them back and said, well, I don't know how, because the registrars have just emailed us to say that they won't be performing the ceremony because they, of social distancing. So the wedding venue actually turned around to us and said, well, have your ceremony here and we'll get someone in to give you a blessing and then get married when you can.
Right, so basically they're saying, come to this venue, have a bit of a party, go through the motions, and then at a later date, we'll actually do all the legalities sort of thing.
Well, they won't. They wanted us to go and get married somewhere else, the legal side.
Right, so they're not even giving you the option to go back to there.
They were just basically saying, have your wedding here so you've spent your money, and then, you can go and get married legally whenever you want at a registry office or something. Which
is it's quite offensive, really, because that's like saying, well, we've got your money, so, we can stick to our end, kind of, but then you're going to have to go somewhere else and do all the main bits. Yeah.
I mean, the only reason why it wasn't going ahead on the 10th of April is because the government said, you can't do it. But the venue's closed, and our email even turned round to them and said, look, if you're telling us you're not cancelling our wedding, you are postponing it, it isn't your place to postpone our wedding. It's our place to postpone our wedding, not yours. So you are cancelling it. No, we're not cancelling it. We're postponing it, but you're not allowed to do that. So what you're telling me is that you are cancelling it, and they won't admit to cancelling the wedding, because the moment they admit to cancelling it, then I suppose they're liable for refunding because they've cancelled. But they just won't do that. And they're trying every legal loophole known to man to get out of refunding the money. And it's ridiculous, because we're not talking a few £1,000s a year. You know what I mean? We're talking, people have actually taken about £10,000 from us directly themselves.
Wow. It's
and then on top
a lot
of that,
of money.
And then in turn, the other companies that we've had in, they've had about another £7,000 out of us. So, and we've lost a lot as it is, because we've lost like all the cards and stuff like that, that we've paid for, all the invites, everything that can't be replaced now.
That's it. And all that's another expense later on. You got to get invites reprinted, cards reprinted. Now, was the venue, were they handling all the aspects like the catering and the wedding dressing and entertainment, DJ, that sort of thing?
They were providing the DJ. We had a tribute band on at night,
right.
Which we booked directly ourselves. But yeah, they were providing the DJ, all the catering, and the basic room and table dressings. And then we brought another company in from Preston that were going to do, all the extras. We're going to have trees put in and things like this. So yeah, so just the basic side of the wedding, which was the food, the catering, the alcohol, the staff, the bedrooms, the accommodation the night before, everything was done by the venue.
So the actual accommodation and things, because a lot of your guests would have been stopping over.
Yeah.
Are they being issued a refund as well? Are they able to get a refund for the room they've booked?
No, this is where it gets even better. They've booked and paid for the rooms, and we've got friends from down London say that we're coming up, and they're in the 70s, and they're a lovely couple that were now on holiday, and they were travelling up for our wedding. Now they're both in isolation; they can't come out, and they rang the venue and basically turned around and said, look, this wedding's not going ahead now, can we have a refund? And they were basically told the same as us. They were told no, they won't get a refund. The room will be moved on to a date when we rebook our wedding with them.
Right, so they're basically trying to dictate when you will have your wedding. They're trying to force you into a date that they can't sell, or possibly they would sell for a much reduced rate, but they're trying to make you pay full whack for it.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, even if they were to turn around to you and say, look, Andy, we can offer you this date. It would normally be this much because it's a date that we can't normally sell. So what we'll do is we'll take your money for that, and then we'll give you back the difference. Would that kind of alleviate the blow, so to speak?
Not really, because the problem that we've got is that the dates, like a Thursday in November, say, that they want to take, or a Sunday in November. what we've got to look at is that when all this is over, are people going to be in a financial state to be able to attend our wedding in November?
Of course.
You know what I mean? Are people going to be actually, like you said before in the conversation we had before we started, are people going to be turned around and still willing to go out to parties and stuff like that? Because, you know, people might still be thinking, well, hang on, let's take it easy this year. Let's keep the distancing. So our wedding day could basically be ruined anyway if we had a date this year. So, you know, and it makes it really hard work. But they can't offer us anything between now and sort of like September, late September, October anyway. So we're into winter weddings then. You know what I mean? And then you've got Christmas, and you know, people don't have the same money to spend at Christmas, especially this year. I mean, I think it's going to be atrocious for people this Christmas.
It is. I do think it's going to be tough. I mean, if you look at your wedding, for example, if you were to rebook in a winter month or even a weekday, for example, people might not be in a position with work and things to be able to book a weekday off. You know, they might, their employers might say, right, well, you've had all this time off for whatever reason because of the pandemic and things, but to catch up on things, you can't take any holidays for X, Y, Z. So, you know, who knows what is around the corner? Yeah,
this is it. And it's really hard work. But, you know, the venues are, you know, like this particular venue is a well-off, very well-known venue. And, you know, the family that own that business are certainly not financially in a bad situation. So it's not like it's a small venue that's going to struggle and go under. It's a large, very well-established venue, you know, that do thousands and thousands of weddings a year. So, you know, they for doing what they're doing we can't see it any more than just greed.
No, exactly, and that's all it is. It's greed. It's like they're using the coronavirus as an excuse to hold on to money. Maybe they're waiting up until there's some government guidelines or something to be released, but still, if that is the case, they should be honest. You know, they should turn around and say, Andy, you know, we're not sure what's going on yet in terms of government advice or plans for going forward. So at the minute, we don't know anything, but we'll tell you when we do. What they've done is they've just basically said, you're not having your money. You've paid us now. That's it. It isn't going ahead. We've got your money. You're not having it back. End of.
Yeah.
Which is bang out of order.
And you know, and it's this month couldn't have got any worse for us with this, because the one person who wanted it at a wedding was my mum. And my mum passed away on the 24th of March.
Wow.
Just 2 weeks today. You know, and we even had the situation where obviously all my work's gone because of what I do for a living. You know, everything's gone now, so we haven't got a single piece of work that's confirmed this year, because we don't know where we're going to be. My partner Emma is a nurse. She was on the point of being laid off, but luckily the nursery in Longridge needed some key workers for key work children. So luckily she was one of the 3 members of staff that was kept on there. So they've kept her on, which is just able to keep her heads above water. But even with my mum's funeral, we contacted the funeral plan that she'd put in place, and lo and behold, the money from my mum's funeral plan didn't cover the funeral.
And is this because of the coronavirus?
What, her death or the actual funeral situation?
Both, really.
No, I mean, her death, she had a fall a couple of weeks before she went into hospital. And then they did test when she initially went in for coronavirus, because they was testing everybody. But then they never did any secondary tests. And she developed hospital-based pneumonia, which is what's on her death certificate. But it had the same signs, symptoms as coronavirus, so we don't know, because they basically just once she died, they didn't bother doing tests after she died. So, you know, but then the policy is just one of these insurance policies that people take out for their life, and unfortunately, people need to look into this. It doesn't always cover the costs of the funerals, and it didn't with Mum. So, you know, we've actually had to borrow money to pay for my mum's funeral.
So not only are you faced with, you've lost your income, you're now surviving on one person's income, You've lost your money for your wedding and other costs with that as well, but you've also got to foot the bill for your mum's funeral as well.
Correct. Yeah. So it's been a pretty rough month.
It has. It's been an incredibly rough month for you. But Andy, just tell me, please, you are still managing to keep smiling through all this?
Well, yeah, we try. You know, it's hard most days. You know, my mum was kind of like my best friend as well, so that doesn't really help. You know, because of what I do for a living, I could spend, you know, a few days at the beginning of the week with my mum when I wasn't on the road. So, you know what I mean? It was quite, you know, a pleasant thing to do.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we actually shared, you know, a couple of days when I've been doing things for you, and you've been on the phone to your mum, and you just said, "Oh, I've got to nip out because I've got to take her into town or something," or "You've got to do."
Correct.
Do something.
You know, and it's hard work to miss, you know, and like you know, they've been there all your life, haven't
they?
You know,
of course.
So, but yeah, I mean, you know, the wedding situation, it's soul destroying because, you know, me and Emma really wanted to get married. We'd been through a lot with my cancer and everything else, and you know, she'd been my rock, you know, and she deserved her wedding. So, and that's why we did it the way that we did. You know, she wanted the big white wedding, and now the way that this venue's been with us, we don't really want to get married there anyway, because the way they've been with us, we don't feel like we would enjoy the day with them anyway.
No.
So, you know, we'd intended that if we could get a refund, we'd have just gone abroad, got married, the pair of us abroad somewhere as soon as we could get out there and fly. And, you know, just get on with their lives and do it that way. But unfortunately, they've got us over a barrel that now we're kind of stuck with a venue that we don't want to be at. Probably with a date that we don't really want, and we're not gonna enjoy it.
No,
so it's horrible.
Which is not the intention. That's not why you choose to get married, is it? To be dictated when you're going to do it and where you're going to do it. I mean, let's just hope that more people complain about this and get the government involved, and hopefully something will be put into place in black and white from the government that will enforce wedding venues to reimburse and refund people who have had to cancel or miss out on their weddings, so people like yourself can then recuperate your money back and then say, well, actually, I don't want to go there because we do want our dream wedding, and with you that will not be the dream wedding, so we're going to go to another place.
Yeah, correct.
Well, I do hope that everything works out, Andy. Now, Andy,
thanks, Kris.
What are your plans for going forward in terms of what are you looking forward to when all this is over with?
Well, I mean, one of the big things we're looking forward to as a family is being able to give Mum a proper send-off. So we're actually having Mum's ashes put into a casket, and we're going to have a full-on service for her and a big family party, you know, when all this is done. And also, you know, hopefully we can get this behind us and we can get married and get on and enjoy ourselves. And work-wise, you know, obviously I love my job. It's something I really enjoy, and you know, it's something I look forward to getting back to. But how long it's going to take, we don't know.
This is it. Nobody knows, do they? Nobody knows.
No.
Well, Andy, thank you very much for joining me today and having a chat. You know, we've talked about some quite hard-hitting topics, and I do hope everything works out, because out of everybody, you deserve the wedding of your dreams. You both do, because you personally have done a lot for your community, for raising, you know, money for charity, money for good causes and everything. So out of everybody, you deserve the best wedding ever.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Well, Andy, thanks again. I wish you all the best of luck for everything, and I wish you the best of health.
Cheers, Kris, and thank you, and hope the podcast goes well.
Thank you very
mate.
much. I'll speak to you soon. Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.
So there you go. We've just heard from Andy and how his wedding and life has been severely affected by the coronavirus. I mean, to go through all that in the past, to then have a wedding be cancelled and you've lost every single penny of it with no income coming in, to then also lose your mum as well in the same time, it's just heartbreaking. I will plead to wedding venues out there that please help everybody. It's only fair. I'm sure there is something that can be done that will make everybody involved happy. So Andy, thanks again for getting involved. I do sincerely wish you all the best of luck in the future, both in life and also in health. And I hope you manage to organise the wedding of your dreams for both yourself and Emma. And as well, I hope you eventually manage to get to give your mum the send-off she deserves. My deepest condolences do go to you and all your family. Now, I think if anything from today's podcast we have learnt is, as bored as we may be stuck inside with nothing to do, there are definitely people out there who are in a worse position. So until next time, I'm going to love you and leave you. Please, everybody, keep being safe, keep being careful, and most importantly, keep washing your hands. I'll speak with you soon.